Hi, this is Shweta from Tax, and today I will speak about TDS on contractual payments under Section 194C. I will tell you about the essential features of Section 194C, the specified persons who are required to deduct tax under Section 194C, the TDS rates, the type of payments that are covered under Section 194C, and the compliances required under Section 194C. Section 194C applies to payments such as a payment to a building contractor for advertising, or payment made for job work, etc. The TDS will apply when the payments cross a certain threshold limit under Section 194C. So let us look at the essential features of Section 194C. Section 194C covers a works contract, which is a contract for carrying out any type of work. It will also include a supply of labor for carrying out any work. It covers resident contractor payments. That means payments made to a resident are covered under Section 194C. Non-resident payments are covered under a separate section. It covers payments made by a specified person to the contractor. The list of specified person is separately given. In a case where the specified person making the payment is an individual or a HF, they need to deduct a TDS only if the turnover or the gross receipts from their business exceed 1 crore or the gross receipts from the profession exceed 50 lakh in the preceding financial year. However, individual or HF are not required to deduct TDS in case of personal payments. The threshold for TDS is Rs 30,000 per contract. However, if the aggregate contracts exceed Rs 1 lakh, a TDS is required. The rate of TDS is 1% in case of payments due to an individual or HF and 2% for payments to others. When you deduct tax, you have to deduct the same on the invoice value. You can exclude the value of the material which is separately mentioned in the invoice. Next, let us look at the list of specified persons. Specified persons who have to deduct tax will include central government, local authority, state government, any corporation, include any cooperative or a company. It will also include a society or a trust and a partnership firm or a LLP and an individual or HF where their turnover has exceeded 1 crore or 50 lakhs in the case of a profession. Section 194C applies only where the payments are due for carrying out any type of a work under a contract. So let us understand the definition of work under Section 194C. Work will include a contract for advertising, a contract for broadcasting or telecasting, which will also include production of programs, and for the broadcasting, it will include a carriage of goods and passengers by any mode of transport other than railways. It will also include a catering contract, a contract for manufacturing or supplying of a product as per the specification of the customer and using the materials which are provided by the customer or from any associated enterprise, but it will not include a manufacturing or a supplying of a product according to the requirements to the customer using materials which are purchased from a person other than the customer. Let us consider some examples of a contract under Section 194C. Messrs. ABC Enterprises is a sole proprietorship firm. It had a turnover of 1.3 crore in the financial year 2019-20. The firm enters into a job work agreement with XYZ Private Limited and pays Rs 20,000 per month from May 2020. So in this case, Messrs. ABC is an individual taxpayer. Section 194C will be applicable from this financial year, that is financial year 2021, as the turnover of the preceding year exceeds 1 crore. Now the monthly payments are below 30,000, but the aggregate payments will exceed Rs 1 lakh during the entire financial year 2021. So we have to apply the TDS provisions under Section 194C. The TDS rate applicable will be 2% on the monthly payment, 2% because the person receiving the payment is a private limited company, and the monthly TDS would work out to Rs 400 per month, which is 2% of Rs 20,000. Let us consider an example of an advertising contract. Messrs. ABC pays an amount of Rs 50,000 to a firm for advertising in a magazine. Now the payment here is a single payment. Here the payment exceeds the threshold of Rs 30,000. Though the aggregate payment is not exceeding Rs 1 lakh, we need to consider the individual payment, which is about the threshold of Rs 30,000. Messrs. ABC should deduct a tax at 2% on the payment due, which is Rs 1,000, 2% of Rs 50,000. Section 194C also applies to subcontractors. That is where the main contractor subcontracts a portion of the contract or the entire contract to another subcontractor. So let us understand the subcontracting arrangement using an example. XYZ Limited enters into an advertising contract of Rs 10 lakh with Messrs. J LLP. who in turn subcontracts a portion of the advertising contract to Messrs. SR Enterprises for Rs 5 lakh. The value of the subcontract is Rs 5 lakh here. In this case, Messrs. JLLP should deduct a tax on the payment due to the subcontractor, Messrs. SR Enterprises, at the applicable TDS rate. The TDS rate will depend upon whether Messrs. SR Enterprises is a proprietorship or it's a firm, etc. Next, we will understand what are the TDS rates applicable. Due to COVID-19 for the financial year, the TDS rates are reduced by 75%. So we'll just go through what are the TDS rates. This slide shows you the TDS rates. For the period from 1st April 2020 till 13th May 2020, the TDS rates are 1% for individual or HF and 2% for others. However, from 14th May 2020 till 31st March 2021, the TDS rate for individual and HF is 0.75% and for others it is 1.75%. Do note that a higher rate of TDS of 20% is applicable in case the recipient does not furnish a PAN. Also, there is no TDS on payments made to transporters who own 10 or less goods carriages and who also submit a declaration along with their PAN. In the next slide, we will understand the time limit within which a TDS should be deposited. So all persons other than the government, they have to deposit the TDS that they deduct on or before the 7th of the next month. In case I deduct a tax at any time, say 15th of this month, I have to pay the same within 7th of the next month. However, if the payment is due in the month of March, then I can pay the same by April 30th. In the case of government, the TDS should be deposited on the same day. In the next slide, we will understand the compliance with respect to TDS returns. After the deduction of tax, the deductor should also submit quarterly TDS returns. The 4 quarters and the due date applicable are: for April to June, the due date is 31st July. July to September quarter, the due date is 31st October. From October to December quarter, it's 31st January. And January to March, the due date is 31st May. Do note that for the financial year 2021, an extension applies. For Q1 and Q2, the due date is 31st March 2021. However, the due date for Q3 and Q4 remain the same. Lastly, after the deduction of tax, the deductor also should submit a TDS certificate in Form 16A. The time limit for submitting the TDS certificate is 15 days from the end of the quarter. For further details about TDS under Section 194C, do refer to our page on Section 194C. Do like and share our videos and do subscribe to our channel. Thank you.